Previously on Crowforest Reviews. And now the conclusion.
So you've come at last. Did you get my presents?
Yeah, I did. It was very thoughtful of you.
Yes, I thought it was rather fitting creating a miniature of your world. After all, that is much the same way that you created my world.
Yeah, about that. How did that happen again? I'm a little fuzzy on the details.
Well, this is certainly unusual. It's not every day that a creator will ask his creation how he came to be. Very well, I will humor you. Come with me. Just a little trip back through time.
How is this possible?
I do not belong to either world, and as such, their laws of relativity and the like have no meaning for me. You are simply coming along for the ride.
Thanks, that cleared it up.
Here we are. This is where it all started.
Hey, I remember this. This is the time I tried to cast a spell on that old mirror. But the spell didn't even work. How is this relevant?
Oh, but the spell did work, just not as you intended.
What do you mean? The spell had no effect. Look, you can see it clearly from here.
Sometimes, in order to truly see clearly, it has to be a little bit foggy. The red light is your spell.
Of course, my spell reflected off the mirror. It's so simple. How did I not see this before? But that still doesn't explain how your world came to be.
That is because we are not done yet. You ended up enchanting everything in your room except for the one thing you had intended. I guess the only question that remains is why were you attempting to cast an image to reality spell on your mirror in the first place?
I wasn't. I was trying to do the exact opposite. I had bought the mirror secondhand, so I was casting the spell as a precaution to remove any previous incantations, restore the reality back to the mirror image. But when my spell got reflected back, it must have somehow reversed the polarity of my magic, causing the opposite effects.
Not quite. See, your spell traveled in two directions after hitting the mirror. In your room, nothing was changed, but in your mirror room, everything was enchanted. Creating a mirror universe duplicate, and leaving only one link between the two worlds. Me. I waited for years for you to notice me, to set me free from the existential horror of being trapped between two worlds, never truly being in either. I wondered why you would do such a thing to me, but then I learned why. It's fun to cause pain to others, to take joy in their suffering. I could not get to you, but I took great pleasure in killing the residents of Lego World, my favored brethren, as it were. At first, the kill itself was enough, but soon I discovered that I needed something more, so I started refining my methods. I started building miniature versions of their dwellings and symbolically killing the little version of themselves inside it, much as you yourself did to me.
But if you're only building models and you can't actually leave this room, then how are you killing them?
Because, dear Crowforest, my unique situation had granted me a power. I, like you, could build, and by building make it real. See, I am not just creation, but creator as well. I have been gifted and cursed with the fate of carrying out both roles for all eternity. I could build anything I wanted, and upon destroying what I had built, I destroyed the reality behind it, the reality you had built.
Sympathetic magic?
Ah, yes, I like that term. It's so fitting.
But how is that possible? Even if you did somehow receive some of my powers of creation, you were only half in my world. Any powers that you had would have been greatly reduced.
It was reduced, but it was also amplified, refracted into a new plane of existence.
That's not how any of that works.
No, but it's a really good line. And since you're apparently done listening to me, I guess it's time to kill you. Goodbye, dear Crowforest.
Wait, you can't kill me yet. And just why not? I still have to do the review. You're just gonna have to wait. What? Hello and welcome to Crowforest Reviews, and welcome to the final installment of my Halloween special. And what better way to celebrate than with a review of Luna Eclipsed? Well, I can't think of a better way. This is Luna Eclipsed. So the episode starts out with Spike pacing back and forth waiting for Twilight. In this case, Spike is waiting for Twilight to finish changing into her costume so that they can go to the Nightmare Night party. When Twilight finally comes downstairs, she's dressed as the famous and powerful magician Starswirl the Bearded.
Did you even read that book I gave you about obscure unicorn history?
You know, that's the same answer I always get when I ask people that question. Did you even read that book on obscure unicorn history I gave you? So anyway, a group of candy seekers come to the door, including Pinkie Pie.
Pinkie Pie, aren't you a little old for this? Never!
Well, can't argue with that. After giving Pinkie Pie a piece of candy, Twilight shows off her costume, but she's immediately offended when Pinkie Pie doesn't recognize it.
You make a fantastic weirdo clown. A clown?
It's okay, Twilight. No one ever gets my costumes either.
Starswirl the Bearded is only the most important conjurer of the pre-classical era.
Yeah, like every pony knows that. So Pinkie Pie shows up again, only to be immediately scared away by Rainbow Dash. Huh, that was kind of pointless.
Rainbow Dash, that wasn't very nice.
Lighten up, old timer.
Or should I say, lightening up. So Twilight and Spike go over to see Applejack.
That beard? I reckon you're some sort of country music singer.
Do I just need a counter for number of times someone mistakes Twilight's costume for something else?
I reckon you're some sort of country music singer.
I know I had this gag in the last 2 episodes, but... So now we finally get some backstory. Everyone gathers around the big central stage, where Sakura is relating the legend of Nightmare Moon. A legend which, I might add, has at this point passed out of the realm of being strictly mythology, and at this point is pretty much just straight up history. But they had a pre-made script and they can't just go around changing it every time a new fact comes to light.
We put on a disguise to save ourselves from her searching eyes. So if she comes and all is clear, Equestria is safe another year.
That's a really interesting justification for why the celebration of Nightmare Night would be so close to that of Halloween. Hell, it's actually better justified here why everyone would dress in costumes than it is for Halloween. Though it does raise the rather awkward question of why would Celestia encourage such rumors to be spread about her sister? So anyway, right on cue, Luna enters the scene in a suitably dramatic fashion. So Luna comes down off her chariot, causing every pony to tremble in fear before her. But then she gives a rather moving speech about how she wants to mend her broken relationship with the mortal ponies after her long absence. But unfortunately, the lightning is not doing her any favors.
Glorious feast!
Isn't that just typical? Lightning is always trying to make good speeches look evil. The same thing happened to me when I was running for public office.
7 years ago, I had a dream that together we can be justice.
Needless to say, my opponent ended up winning the election.
Did you hear that, everybody? Nightmare Moon says she's gonna feast on us all! Ah!
Typical media response. So Twilight decides to go talk to Luna over Spike's objection.
You can't talk to her! She's Nightmare Moon!
No, she's not. I saw the elements of harmony change her back to good.
Finally, someone remembered. That was only the most important plot point of the entire series.
Princess Luna? Hi, my name is...
Star Swirl, the bearded, commendable costume.
Oh good, I guess that means we won't need this anymore. Anyway, Twilight tells Luna that she will likely be met with better results if she uses a more moderate speaking voice. And so Twilight takes Luna to Fluttershy to get voice lessons. Not that that doesn't sound like a good idea, but did Twilight even ask Fluttershy how she felt about that?
It's me, Twilight! It is you. Oh, and Nightmare Moon. Nightmare Moon?
Huh, guess not. So Luna practices speaking in a softer tone of voice. So pretty much the exact opposite of the scene we got before.
Yay.
Louder!
Yay.
How is this?
Better.
Now?
Yes.
So Twilight and Luna go to see Applejack to see if she has any ideas. And Applejack suggests that Luna play some party games and try to get more involved with the group.
Have some fun! Your princess enjoys this fun! In what ways may we experience it?
The plan seems to work, and everything seems to be going pretty well, at least until Pinkie Pie shows up to ruin everything by misinterpreting Luna saving Pipsqueak from drowning. So anyway, panic once again breaks out, but Luna reassures everyone of her good intent by animating toy spiders.
Huzzah! How many points do I receive?
You didn't think that one through, did you? Understandably pissed off, Luna cancels all future Nightmare Nights, and then she flies off to be by herself, leaving the town in ruins for the 54th time that week. But Twilight is determined to make everything better, so she goes to talk to Luna. She convinces Luna to talk to Pinkie Pie so that they can form a truce, as it has been Pinkie Pie who's caused the majority of the chaos of the evening. It looks like everything is going to work out, but just then, Rainbow Dash comes back in to do that cloud trick from earlier, and once again scares Pinkie, forcing Twilight to chase after her and pin her down.
She's changed, Pinkie. She's not evil or scary anymore. Well, duh.
Wait, Pinkie does remember? I mean, she sure ought to remember, but if she remembers, then why has she been acting like this?
So why do you keep running away and screaming? Sometimes it's just really fun to be scared.
Huh, that's kind of an interesting resolution.
Fun? Pinkie Pie, you're a genius.
Twilight has an idea, and she convinces Luna to transform into the form of Nightmare Moon for a little role-playing. And that immediately resolves all their issues. So after that, how else can we possibly end this other than Luna scaring Rainbow Dash with the exact same cloud trick? So that was Luna Eclipsed, and there are a lot of problems with this episode. Now, before getting into my criticisms, I'd just like to point out that the animation for this episode is great. Some of the best that the show has ever produced, in fact. It somehow manages to keep all the elements of the bright and colorful while still allowing for the dark and mysterious. It's not all just monochrome backgrounds that you can't even see half the time. I also like the artistic choice to make the night sky purple rather than blue. This allows for the day and night to be visually different without having to turn the contrast down too much. But as for the story, well, on the surface it seems fine, if a bit basic. Kids go to a holiday party and learn a little bit about the history of that holiday. But if you start to think too hard about the deeper implications of the plot, and trust me, I tend to do that, you see a much darker image start to form. According to tradition, fools must leave a candy offering for Luna, or rather for Nightmare Moon, in order for her not to eat them. Well, we know that's definitely not something that Luna does, so just who started that rumor? Celestia? That's kind of a cruel thing to make up about your sister. I mean, granted, she did kind of need a cover story to give the public after her fight with Luna. She couldn't very well come forward and say, I banished Luna to the moon after we had a petty argument. Now, of course, we don't actually have confirmation that Celestia is the one who started spreading those stories, but even if she didn't, she certainly didn't discourage them. So one way or another, Nightmare Night is really just Solar Empire propaganda. But with that said, this idea is not at all at odds with Celestia's character, and it serves to build the ever-growing drama of the dysfunctional relationship between Celestia and Luna. So despite everything, or you could argue because of it, this is a really good episode, and I would definitely recommend it. Well, that's all for now.
Oh, so you're finally done now? Well then, I guess it's time to kill you.
Actually, I have a better idea.
And just what are you planning to do with that? Send me back through the mirror?
Not quite.
What? How?
I simply pulled it from the duat.
The do what?
The duat. Or in layman's terms, hammer space. I hereby banish you to the Phantom Zone.